What's up, guys? My name's Cody, and this is another UFC betting breakdown. This time for UFC Vegas 51, we got Vicente Luque taking on Belal Muhammad, and it's a little bit of a low-key card, I'm not going to lie to you, especially after the banger card we had last week, but you know what I always say, I'll take any fights over no fights, all day, any day. So, before we get into it, leave a like on this video if you enjoy the breakdowns. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Any fights you agree or disagree on. And hit me up on Twitter or Twitch. I will be live for the fights on Saturday. My Twitch is going to be in the caption. And if you want to see my bets, I always tweet them all out. I mean, I'm obviously going to go over them on this video. But any last-minute plays that I don't have in time for this video, I always tweet them out and go back and forth with you guys on any fights, any bets, whatever. Love doing it. That's basically all I use Twitter for. Is MMA Twitter. Outside all that, man, make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on so you don't miss any of these videos. I do betting breakdowns, UFC 4 videos, Fight Night videos, and we do DMF championships, which is the best UFC and Fight Night players in the world play live on my Twitch. We have rankings, we do cash prizes and tournaments, all that type of stuff. If you want to be a part of that, join my Discord. If you want to watch, you can see it live on my Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And we put the replays here on YouTube after. Outside of that, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's get into the fights. First up, we got Haly Alatang taking on Kevin Kroom. And Alatang, we saw in his last fight. It was such a weird fight, man. He was fighting Gustavo Lopez. He wins the first 2 rounds. And then in the 3rd round, he's up against the cage, and he grabs the fence like 5 times. And the ref is like, gives him so many warnings. Literally says it like several times right over there in the same couple minutes. Eventually takes a point. He loses the 3rd, and that point costs him the fight. And instead of a win, 3-2 or 3-1 win, or 2-1 win, what am I talking about? It's 2-1 with the 10-8, or with the, 10-8 in the 3rd. Because of the point taken. And now we have a draw. Alatang, man, in the Kenny fight, he just took a beating. Kenny kicked his body probably 100 times in that fight. It was actually kind of hard to watch. But, Alatang's clearly tough. He's got some decent wrestling. Definitely, he's got that Mongolian wrestling. Actually, technically, I think because of that, you're supposed to call him Alatang Haly. I think the last name goes first, but beside the point. On the other side, Kevin Kroom, somebody I definitely think he can take down, especially considering 5'5" against 5'11". Y'all always call it a reach advantage, a height advantage, and he is going to have both of those. But is it going to be an advantage when you got somebody trying to shoot takedowns? But can you rely on Alatang to shoot the takedowns? Because he hasn't always been, he hasn't had the fight IQ, not just in that last fight, but man, just sometimes just doesn't go out there and shoot takedowns, looks to strike. And I got to say it, man, I'm sorry. Somebody's got to say it. Those nipples, might be the smallest nipples I've ever seen in my life. Anyways, Kevin Kroom, somebody who literally made his debut against Roosevelt Roberts at 155, is all the way down now fighting 155. And I believe he had a fight at 170 at one point earlier in his career. So this is the 3rd weight class he's fought at in the UFC. We saw in the last fight against Brian Keller, Brian just honestly dominated him, made it look easy. And I think Alatang could take him down. I think the takedowns would be key to Alatang's success here, but especially, you're literally giving up 6 inches of height and for 7 inches of reach, 6.5 inches of reach. I definitely think Kroom will have the striking advantage, the volume, the advantage of, just going to throw more on the feet. Alatang, we've seen some fight IQ issues, so I don't know if I can rely on him to shoot takedowns. I do think he should be able to win this fight if he wrestles. If he doesn't wrestle, though, he's going to lose on volume in a decision. I'm going to go Alatang. I'm going to trust him to get the decision, but I'm not going to trust him enough that I'm going to lay that minus 180. So give me Alatang Haly by decision, but if he doesn't shoot takedowns, it's going to get ugly. Next up, we got Sam Hughes taking on Stella Nunez, and Sam Hughes has not had a very great run so far in the UFC. 3 in a row. But, Tisha Torres, totally give her a pass on that. Tisha Torres got a finish, which is something she does not do, even though I am a fan of Torres. But just absolutely outclassed her. And then in the Luke Boume fight, Luke Boume is a girl who fights at 105. She's tiny, and she's a Muay Thai striker. And she was out there taking Sam Hughes down easily, too. In the Pinheiro fight, okay, it was a little bit of a better fight. And Pinheiro's not a bad fighter either. It's just, hasn't looked good. So you obviously understand why she's the underdog in this fight. But, Stella Nunez, low-level fight, man. Minus 200 for Stella Nunez against anybody is kind of tough. I mean, Carnelosi's a pretty tough debut. Just a jacked-ass, wrestle boxer, strong as hell, got to her back, rear naked choked her. And I do think, and that was in the 3rd round, I do think the longer this fight goes, it could swing into Sam's favor because I do think she has a gas tank advantage. She doesn't seem to slow down that much, and whereas Stella Nunez, we have seen slow down. I do think that, Sam's pretty big, strong girl. She's scrappy, she's tough, but as far as technique and the skills, I got Estella all day. I think Estella can win these first 2 rounds and just survive. So I'm going to go Estella by decision, but that 3rd round could definitely get dicey for sure. Sam Hughes is definitely tough, pretty durable, and I could see her making it a dogfight if it gets to the 3rd, which I do think it will. So I will take Estella Nunez to win the first 2 and survive the 3rd, win the decision. But it's going to get a little crazy if in that 3rd. Next up, we got Trey Ogden taking on Jordan Leavitt. And, man, this fight's pretty interesting because both these guys, submission threats, almost all their wins. And, Trey Ogden, a lot of his losses, submission loss, submission loss, submission loss. His last 3 losses. He has 1 decision loss, 3 submission losses. And he's fighting, a guy who's strictly a submission threat. That's what he does. He has no striking. Neither one of these guys have great striking. Submission, 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 submission. But we saw in that Claudio Puelles fight, this guy just doesn't have the striking. He doesn't have a great gas tank. And even in his last fight, man, that got pretty sloppy, man. That was not good win, got it done, got the submission, but it was pretty sloppy. And I do feel like in this fight, Trey Ogden has the striking advantage. He's going to have the wrestling advantage. Jordan Leavitt, terrible wrestling. Terrible wrestling. Has to just rely on it being like a scramble or pulling guard or absolutely any way he can get you to the mat because shooting a takedown is just not something he is very good at. And Trey Ogden, not that he has great wrestling, but he definitely does, have the wrestling advantage here. And I do think, it's going to be tough for Jordan to get it to the mat. If Trey Ogden has, the fight IQ that, you would hope, he's going to just want to sprawl and brawl here because not that he's some kind of great striker. I don't even think he might have 1 knockout on his resume. Not that means everything as far as your striking, but he wins almost all of his fights by submission. That's how he wins his fights. But, I just feel like if he's smart in this one, man, switch it up. Keep it on the feet because he does have a striking advantage. He does hit harder. Jordan Leavitt, pillows in his hands, man, and no takedown. So it's keep the fight on the feet and just outstrike this guy. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. But the fact that he has 3 submission losses out of his 4 losses, Jordan Leavitt, huge submission threat. If it becomes, a grappling match, I could see either one of these guys getting submitted, to be honest. Especially, Leavitt most likely early. But if it's a submission late, I could definitely see it being Leavitt who gets submitted once he gasses out a little bit. He gets a little sloppy. But I am going to lean Trey Ogden by decision to keep it primarily on the feet. I'm sure, knowing these guys, he just won't be able to stop himself from doing a little grappling. But I'm going to say he survives the submissions, just lands a little bit more on the feet, and stays on top the little bit amount that they do grapple. And I'm going to go Trey Ogden by decision. Next up, we got Chris Barnett taking to Martin Boudet. And Chris Barnett, some of y'all might own the NFT, but this guy kind of made a little bit of a splash. Obviously, is this guy like some sort of contender? No, I'm gonna need to take a dab for my boy though. After that KO he had on John Vellante, OG, but hasn't exactly been looking great. But regardless, that kick was pretty beautiful. And I think he just absolutely caught John Vellante slipping on that. I mean, who expects that? It was like a wheel kick from a 35-year-old, 300-pound, 5'9" heavyweight. And, this guy is known, Chris Barnett, to get upwards of 300 pounds. But, in this fight, he's going to have the striking advantage. Yeah, obviously he's got the flashy kicks. He's got the just overall better striking. Martin Boudet's striking is bad. I mean, he looks slow, plotty, just doesn't have it. The striking is largely on Chris Barnett's side. But, man, Martin Boudet is a true heavyweight. This man is 6'4". He's just naturally much bigger. 5'9" and 6'4". And we're not just talking about height. Martin Boudet is 265, 6'4", and like a solid, like strong, friggin' Russian heavyweight. He's not a 5'9" dude who's like, let's be real. Like, yeah, Chris Barnett, super athletic, super fun to watch, but just, obviously that is just not peak. Like, who knows, man, with his athleticism and his striking, if he actually, I know people throw this around too easily, but he's one of the ones I have to say, like, if he really were to, like, get disciplined and fucking make like he could literally be fighting at like 170. But if he like even fought at middleweight, bro, his speed, like he actually, who knows? But this is heavyweight, man, and we get true heavyweight Martin Boudet, and I think he's gonna be smart enough. Clinch up with him, put him on the cage, tire him out. Chris Barnett, sometimes people try to say he's a good gas tank, but I just feel like it matters depending on the fight. And if he's forced to grapple, I think Martin can get him tired. Clinch up with him. He's the much bigger, stronger man. Wear him down. Couple takedowns. And this should be an easy one. I know on the feet, Chris Barnett could land something big, but I don't think Martin Boudet is going to give him a chance. I think he's just going to make it a sloppy, slow, heavyweight, and just sap Chris Barnett's energy, get him tired, grind on him, win the decision. So I'm going to go Martin Boudet by decision. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we got Rafa Garcia taking on Jesse Ronson. And Rafa Garcia, man, blew it as a big favorite against Chris Grutzmacher. And since then, man, I'm sorry, I've kind of left the train. Like, Nasrat, okay, you lose that one. It's cool. You were undefeated coming into it. Nasrat's, especially at that time, was looking good. And he is a legit, that's a tough debut. Chris Grutzmacher, it's like, okay, good cardio, tough guy. But, like, at the end of the day, man, like, that was supposed to be, like, a bounce-back fight for Garcia here, and it just did not look like it. We saw him gas out, and man, another thing, like Jesse Ronson, big guy, man, natural welterweight, and Garcia used to fight at featherweight, 5'10", 5'7", a little bit of a reach advantage, and it's not just height and reach. It's Jesse Ronson's just bigger naturally, and he's fought bigger guys. He's fought plenty of welterweights. And he's done a decent job defending their takedowns. And I think Garcia needs to get the takedown too. Because he is kind of like, he's solid everywhere, Garcia. But Jesse Ronson packs a punch, man. And yeah, Jesse Ronson against Dalby. And it kind of broke my heart because I had Dalby in a parlay. And he knocks Dalby out and then pops for something. So yeah, this is the X factor there. Maybe Jesse was, he denies it. But maybe he was juicing. And now he's off the shit, and now it's going to be a drop-off of performance. We'll see. But I actually think he's a live dog here, man. I think Garcia, a little bit undersized in this matchup, and I don't think his wrestling's anything crazy where it's going to be easy for him to get Jesse down. And if he does, I think Jesse works his way back to the feet. I think he has the heavier hands. And I think a knockout's possible here, but I am going to go Jesse Ronson as an underdog on the card. I really just feel like it's going to play out enough on the feet. I haven't liked what I've seen from Hoffa. We've seen he's hittable. We've seen sometimes he has trouble actually landing the takedowns. And if he doesn't get the takedowns, we also know that he gets a little tired. So if Jesse Ronson comes in good shape, if he either was telling the truth about that steroid situation or he found a little way to glitch the system again, then we're going to see him be able to survive the takedowns, weather the storm, get Hoffa Garcia a little tired like we've seen him in the past, and I could see a knockout happening. So I'm going to go Jesse Ronson by TKO second round, but I do think that a decision is also possible. I wouldn't play the prop. I would just play him straight as an underdog, which is what I did. But let's move on to the next fight. I will take Ronson by KO, and I do have my money where my mouth is. Next up, we got Pannie Kianzad taking on Lena Landsberg. And in this fight, man, I just feel like the line is there for a reason. I get it, and I'm gonna keep this pretty short and sweet. We got a 40-year-old striker at the end of the day. Decent takedowns, not bad. She can land a takedown or two, but against Pannie Kianzad, another kickboxer, two kickboxers, but one is 10 years younger. The line is too wide. Pannie's been looking pretty solid lately. I mean, lost to Raquel, but Raquel's been looking good lately. Beat Alexis Davis, Sajara, two girls who honestly have better takedowns than Lena Landsberg. Betch Carrera, Jessica Rose Clark, lost to Julia Avila in her debut, but I mean, Avila, that's a tough debut. Lena Landsberg been around forever. She's fought the who's who, but she's getting up there. Lost to Sarah McMahon in her last one. Lost to Yana Kuniskaya only a couple of years ago. Got finished by Aspen Ladd. Typically, these girls go to decision. If you were gonna bet it, I'd take Pannie by I'd take Pannie by decision. Just 3-round striking affair. Pannie lands more volume. I don't think a finish is going to be on either side. I don't think too many takedowns. Maybe Lena can get a takedown or two. I just don't see her being able to really use it to win 2 rounds. I'm going to go Pannie by decision. Maybe you take her by decision in a bet. Maybe you take fight to go to decision in a bet and parlay that up. I would say those are the 2 best bets. And I will, I was pretty stuck on which way I was going to do that, but I will talk about how I'm playing it at the end of the night, or at the end of the video. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Close out of this for my bets. Boom. That's what I needed. All right. Yep. Give me Pannie by decision. Let's move on. Next up, we got Devin Clark versus William Knight. And, man, I got to say I'm so interested to see how big William Knight comes in on these scales, man. I just know he's going to come in big. Because William Knight missed weight in his last fight by 13 pounds. Set a record. Absolutely insane. Fought what's his name? Maxim Grishin. And was just literally, I mean, it was the sloppiest fucking fight I've ever seen in my life. Just absolutely abysmal. His fight against Alonzo Minifield, I don't know how he won that fight. Absolute bullshit. That's just the judges being like, oh, Alonzo just holding him. That's boring. It's like, who won the fight? Alonzo won the fight. He won 2 of those rounds easy. Minifield didn't do a single thing in that 3rd round. I don't understand how he won. William Knight obviously does have power. He's thicker than a goddamn Snickers. If he hits you with that right hand, it's going to be a problem. But Devin Clark's taking big punches. He's fought naturally much bigger guys. Now, has he fought? I mean, rumor has it William Knight's going to show up like tipping the goddamn heavyweight scales. I would not be surprised if he shows up like 250. But, just based on how he was saying, he was saying he was like 240 before the weight cut for the last fight. So it's like, I would not be shocked if now he's like, fuck it, heavyweight, I'm just going to come in at like the goddamn limit. He's going to be fucking big, but he's not naturally big. Like, he's just thick as hell, and I don't even think he's 5'10", bro. That man is like 5'8" tops. Like, get out of here with that 5'10" shit. That's a lie. I've seen that man. He is not tall. That is not a tall human being. Devin Clark, he fought Minifield when Minifield was streaking. Took him to decision, ate some big shots. Clark got the wrestling advantage, the cardio advantage, the durability. I think he can, as long as he doesn't eat a stupid shot from William Knight, I think he can just keep it, a grinding, wrestling, ugly heavyweight match, put him up against the cage, grind him out. I'm going to go Devin Clark by decision, but I'm not going to lie. The fact that this is heavyweight, this man's going to be like 250 pounds. Like, it does make some weird. I'm going to go Clark by decision, but, I was pretty confident in that a little earlier in the week. I'm not going to lie. Like, as I'm seeing how big William Knight is right now, I'm getting a little scared, but at the end of the day, I do feel like he's just a better fighter. So I'm gonna stick with my pick, and go Devin Clark by decision. But I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't getting a little scared with the weight. Just I already have it bet plus 130 Devin Clark by decision earlier in the week, but at least I believe it was plus 130. I can double check on that. But, the weight could get a little sketchy. It's going to be a sloppy-ass heavyweight fight between two guys who aren't heavyweights. But, we'll see. I hope Clark comes in with a little extra weight, too. Munir Laziz taking on Ange Lusa. And, yeah, this fight, man, late notice fight. I had to go back last night and watch some of Lusa's fights. I do remember him after I pulled up his most recent, 2 fights ago, the Jack Della Maddalena fight. It was on the Contender Series, and he didn't look bad. I think Maddalena's pretty solid, so the fact that he didn't get, finished or get his ass whooped in that fight, not a bad showing. Seems like, he's training at Sanford MMA, and he's 28, so I'm sure he's going to be improving. I'm sure it's going to be the best Lusa we've ever seen. Lazzez was a decent prospect there for a little bit. He had a little bit of hype, but 34 coming off a pretty rough loss. But Lusa, man, just seems like a little bit of a generalist. Like, he's good everywhere. Not great anywhere, but striking seems decent. We'll shoot some takedowns, do a little wrestling. It doesn't look bad at all. It seems like a pretty even fight, man. The line hasn't dropped, but after seeing Lazzez's last fight, it does seem like, Warley Alvarez, obviously a veteran, has win over Colby Covington. Just been around for a while, even if he only had 17 fights, definitely a veteran. I just feel like maybe we were a little high on Lazzez because Abdul was just overrated. Everybody thought Abdul was just, the boogeyman, and Lazzez put him out, and that gave him a little bit of overhype. But I feel like Lusa, 28 at Sanford, been looking pretty good, showing the fact that he's got different ways to pass the victory. Striking's not bad, wrestling's not bad, cardio's not bad, can take a punch. I like this guy. Cheers, because I'm gonna go Lusa. I haven't seen the line yet, but I'm gonna go Lusa. I'm going to take Lusa, probably by decision. I don't think Lazzez will get finished again, but it's possible. Both these guys are still green enough, or something can happen that we don't foresee. That's why it's not something I really be wanting to bet. The only reason I really would is if the line drops and Lazzez is like a decent favorite, or, really, I guess if he was a favorite at all, maybe I'd toss a little something, but I'm going to go Lusa. I'm going to go Lusa by decision. Not a lot to go off yet, so wouldn't be really trying to bet it. Next up, we got Pat Sabatini taking on TJ Laramie. TJ Laramie making the comeback. Coming back after, it's been a while, man. Year and some change, year and a half since he lost to Derek Minner. Did have a couple canceled bouts, but, Derek Minner came in as a huge underdog, caught him in a guillotine in a minute into the fight. Really the only way, I remember breaking that fight down and saying the only way Minner wins, I swear, you can go back and watch it. It's on my YouTube. I said the only way Minner wins if you catch him in a guillotine at the beginning of the fight. I'm not a genius for saying it. Minner's move is the guillotine. And if he either catches you in that submission early, one of his submissions early, or he gasses out. And that's exactly what he did, man. He forced it, pushed him up against the cage, jumped on that guillotine, and caught it. And Pat Sabatini is a big submission threat, too. And that's why I feel like a lot of people are betting this line. They see Sabatini. He's going to have the wrestling advantage here. Going to have a jiu-jitsu advantage. He's the bigger guy. Laramie is a very small featherweight. He's 24 years old. He's definitely, him and his brother are decent prospects. I'm looking forward to seeing his brother in the UFC because, I bet on him in the past and definitely think he's a top prospect. But, TJ is good too. But, in this fight, I do think he's undersized. I think Sabatini has the wrestling and jiu-jitsu. And only thing I have for TJ is I think he just throws more on the feet. He throws more volume. He probably does have the overall striking advantage. I don't think Sabatini has bad striking. He just doesn't do enough. So if it's on the feet, I do think Laramie can, make this a close fight. I do think that Laramie will be able to avoid the submission. So I'm going to go Sabatini by decision. I think the submission's possible, but I'm going to think that Laramie, I don't think the guillotine's going to happen again. And, little 5'6", stocky Laramie, I think he'll stay out of a lot of the submissions, but I think he will get out-grappled. And I am going to go Sabatini by decision, but I did bet the fight to go to decision. I do have Sabatini in a parlay a little bit earlier in the week before the line got as crazy as it is now. I haven't parlayed up with somebody later on in the card, which we'll talk about. But I did take fight to go to decision too because I really do feel like, maybe Sabatini gets a sub. That's why, I have Sabatini or fight to go to decision. So if Sabatini wins a fight by decision, I get both. If the fight goes to decision, if Laramie wins, I think it's going to be by decision. So if that happens, then I'll win one of the two. But, I think I'm going to hit both of those. I think Sabatini's going to get the decision here. Let's move on to the next fight. Next up, we got Marno Breno Silva taking on Yanan Wu. And this is going to be a quick breakdown because we got a minus 400 Bueno Silva. And no, I'm not doing it. So stop. I don't know what you're thinking. No, don't bet that. And if you're going to bet it, just... You guys, some of y'all, man, y'all try to breeze through these, or you just see, he picked Silva. She's minus 400. Okay, parlay her. No. Yes, she should win this fight, man. Don't come here and be like, oh, wow, bro, I was going to parlay her, but you told me not to, and then she won. Yeah, I get that, but, oh, man. Bueno Silva, in the Ferro fight, that was that she's been her last two. She's been mostly fighting, Even there, okay, that's a pro grappling fight. I meant to click this one. Yeah, over at flyweight, Yanan Wu in her last fight was at bantamweight. That's like one little thing, maybe think about. Jocelyn Edwards is a pretty big girl. Obviously did not work out for her, but fought Lauren Mueller, got armbarred. I don't think Wu is a big girl by any means, but at least, people saw her get blown out in the last fight. And I think, Edwards, I don't think she's a bad fighter at all. And she's pretty scrappy. On Wu this time, at 135. And I honestly feel like, she's a little taller. Yeah, she's a little, they say the reach is the same there. Or they actually say Silva has a half an inch. I don't know. Maybe it's just how Wu fights, but I really would have thought she'd have had a couple inches on the reach. But hey, it is what it is. Silva's thick, though, man. I really feel like the size advantage I've heard some people talk about isn't going to be, isn't really going to be there. And Bueno Silva, power, good submissions. Wu, maybe if she kept on the feet the whole time, could out-volume her, but, I don't think Wu is going to be able to pull this off, and I'm definitely not betting minus 400. I think Bueno Silva, if she doesn't get her out of there, I think that's a bit of a L. Just, I don't know. I guess the hype's kind of died down on her since the Ferro loss, but, obviously the draw didn't help, but a lot of people do like her. A lot of people do like betting on Silva. I do think she should win. If there's a finish on the either side, it's going to be her. Unless she were completely gassed, but I don't see that happening. I'm going to go Bueno Silva. I'm going to go Silva. Honestly, I don't think she's going to finish her, though. I'm going to go Silva by decision. But let's move on to the next fight. Next one is a banger, though, man. I like this fight. We got Andre Fialo taking on Miguel Baiza. Fialo in his last fight, pretty scrappy, man. Pretty crazy fight with Michelle Pereira. Pereira is so goddamn big at 170, bro. That man looks like a light heavyweight. And it was a crazy fight, man, back and forth. We saw both those guys just get gassed and have to fight through it. Fialo cracks, man. All his wins are by knockout, but besides one. I mean, this man, big power. 28 training at Sanford. Again, one of my favorite. I mean, MMA Masters for Miguel Beza, which is a good gym too, but Sanford, so much momentum. Fialo plus 150, decent underdog. And Beza, probably the more technical striker. Probably got the better, slicker jiu-jitsu. Coming off 2 losses, but Ponzinibbio, super high level. Chaos Williams kind of just outstruck him. Ended up finding the shot in the third, finishing him. And even before that fight, we talked about, I just felt like Baze has never been able to take shots very well. Like I've always said it since his debut. Matt Brown catched him, almost finished him. He does, stick in there, ends up finishing Matt Brown, but the writing was on the wall there that somebody was going to eventually clip this guy, and we saw it in his last fight. And going into this fight, I think he has the jiu-jitsu advantage. He's got good leg kicks, which could work good on Fialo. Striking in general is pretty solid, but I feel like Fialo, takedown defense is good enough to keep it upright, and with that, it's Beza's going to throw more volume probably. Beza might have the better gas tank, but I just feel like over 3 rounds, Fialo gets after it, and I really feel like there's a good chance that he's going to clip Beza and find the chin. And I like Beza. I'm not trying to see the man get knocked out back-to-back times, but I really feel like that striking defense is just not there yet, man. We see him back right up, straight in a straight line, hands outright, chin up, and I've seen it since his debut, and it's happened every fight, including his wins. And, he hasn't had to pay for it every time, but I really do feel like in this fight, he's going to pay for it. Cheers. So, with that being said, I got another underdog here, and I got Fialo by KO, and I do have that bet. Fialo by KO bet. I believe it's plus 320. And we'll get into it at the end of the video. But I'm gonna go Fialo by KO. Might not be a popular pick. I know everybody likes Beza. He's the favorite, and I get why. He's the more technical guy on the feet and on the ground. But I like Fialo. I like his experience. I like his power. I think he's going to go after it, find the chin, knock Beza out. Next up, we got the co-main event. This is kind of weird. I honestly would have been down for the last fight to be the co-main, or even the Sabatini fight, or even the Devin Clark-William Knight fight, just for how ridiculous it is. But is what it is. We got Kyle Barello taking on Gadzhiev Omar Gadzhiev, and man, that tat is so weird. But in this fight, we got Barello. Definitely likes to throw hands, more of a striker. pretty decent grappler, but definitely prefers to keep it on the feet. Whereas Omar Gadzhiev, classic Russian grappler, and I've been pretty back and forth on this fight. I think it's really close. Omar Gadzhiev gonna have a bit of a size advantage, probably. Definitely pretty big reach discrepancy, though. That's pretty crazy that he's 6'1" with only a 67-inch reach advantage. My man is the definition of T-Rex arms. That is insane. There is bantamweights with higher reach or longer reach than that. So that's pretty nuts. But I actually think Davison Figueiredo has a longer reach than that. That's gonna bother me. Hold up. God, now I'm on the spot. I had to spell Davison Figueiredo. 68. Okay. Alright, yeah, by 1 inch. I'm a genius. But in this fight, I just feel like Omar Gadzhiev, so far, we've seen him being able to out-grapple his opponents. He's, refusal to fight. That's a funny one on the resume. But pretty mixed, pretty versatile with the knockouts and the submissions, and his grappling, his wrestling's pretty legit, as you typically, ends with a V from Russia, probably likes to get after it on the wrestling. I do understand y'all taking an underdog shot on Barello. I do think he could find Godziev's chin, because I don't know, I haven't loved Omar striking. Definitely seems pretty hittable, and that reach isn't going to help him in this fight. Barello, not the longest arms either, honestly. But 8 inches longer than T-Rex over here. And I always talk about it's not an advantage unless you know how to use it. But in this fight, I do feel like, that could definitely help Barello, who is going to want to, just keep him on the outside and strike with him. And Cal's fought, his last fight at 205, and he just fought too. I should mention that. So, going into this one, I do feel like he's got a good chance, but I'm going to go with Godziev. I'm going to go with him by decision. Decent amount of decisions possibly on this card, but I just feel like his grappling is going to be the difference. So I am going to go Omar Godziev by decision, and let's go into the main event. Kind of weird that's a co-main, though. Next up, we got the main event. Vicente Luque taking on Belal Muhammad. Number 2. A lot of people forgot they have fought once before. And I always say it, man. It's just a little bit of a mental thing. When you've already fought a guy, and not only they beat you, but they knocked you out. And, I just feel like that it's a little bit of a mental thing. And I feel like Vicente, he's just going to have a little bit of an upper hand going into this because of that. I mean, it was a while ago, and Belal is absolutely streaking right now. He's been looking great, putting together a bunch of wins. Hasn't lost since a decision to Jeff Neal. And before that, his loss was to Vicente. Since then, he beat Randy Brown, Jordan Mean, Tim Means. Oh, that's kind of a funny back-to-back, but Chance Rencounter, Curtis Millender, Takashi Sato, Lyman Good, Diego Lima, and then Damian Maia. But his last, it's like, you're looking at these last couple wins, and it's like, man, I love these guys, Wonder Boy and Maia, but at the same time, they're still 40-year-old, buddy, my dog. But they're still, like pretty favorable matchups. Here, let me let my dog out because he's going nuts. And like Damian Maia, another grappler who's 40, like that's tough. And then Wonder Boy, he just grinded him out, and like I love Wonder Boy. He's a legend, one of the best welterweights that we've ever gotten to watch. Now, yeah, he's a specialist, never got the belt, but like, man, he's put together a lot of good fights. And hashtag beat Darren Till, all good. But, Vicente, I just feel like, man, we saw against Chiesa, like, this guy just finds a way, man. And he's training over at Sanford, too. Decent takedown defense, but also, if you put him on his back, man, you're not safe there. And, like, I know we don't see submissions off the back all the time, but he's good at sweeping. I mean, back-to-back Darces off Tyron and Chiesa. That's his move for sure. And, Darks, I knew there was another one. He darced Nico Price in the UFC too, and then way back Herrera and Hassan. But I've been watching Vicente. I've been calling him a dark horse in the division since Ultimate Fighter days, man. Everybody was on Hyder, and I was like, man, this Vicente dude, like, he's the sleeper. And like we've seen it, man. Like super durable. I mean, when he needs to, he can lean on that chin. He's dumb durable, good cardio, good striking, good takedown defense. His takedown defense has not always been great. But when you take him down, it's like he's good at getting back to the feet. And it's like you land a couple takedowns, but then he still ends up finishing you, or he still, finds a submission. And he's got sweeps. He's got submissions off his back. He's got enough power to catch you when you're coming in. He has a lot of ways to finish the fight. And if there's going to be a finish, it's going to be Vicente all day. I just feel like Vicente, it's 5 rounds, man. Like Belal, if this was 3 rounds, it'd be much more close because I feel like Belal could possibly grind him for 2. But, it's 5 rounds, and Vicente isn't just gonna lay there. Like, if you want to grind Vicente over 5 rounds, man, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be a lot of energy to wrestle this guy and dominate three of the 5 rounds. So I'm gonna go Vicente, man. I think he's gonna do it like he did last time. I don't know. This time I could see a submission. I'm actually leaning towards the submission. He knocked him out in the first time they fought. And, Vicente, he could do it a lot of different ways. He could definitely, knock him out. He could catch one of those nasty Darces, guillotine, anacondas. And I am going to lean the submission side. If you're going to bet it, I would do inside the distance because it could really go either way. But I'm leaning toward Vicente by another patented Darce. I really think he might make it 3 in a row. 5 rounds. I think Belal, he's going to get tagged by a couple shots. He's felt that power. He's not going to want to get knocked out again. Bilal's a super tough guy, but it's just natural. He's going to feel a couple of those shots. Once he gets a little bit tired, he's going to eat a couple of those. He's going to shoot in. That's what he likes to do. He likes to wrestle. When he gets tagged, he's going to want to do what he does and start shooting. He's going to dive right into that Darce, and Vicente is going to make it 3 Darces in a row, and I don't think I've ever seen that. That's why the chances on paper are low. Like, 3 Darces in a row, 2 in a row is already crazy, especially at this level. But I genuinely think Anaconda or Darce for Vicente, and I'm going to say 3rd round. 3rd round submission by Vicente. Could be a knockout too. If there's a finish, it's going to be him. If it goes to decision, it could go to Belal. It could go either way, though. I think Luque does, honestly. People are saying he has to finish him. I don't think so, man. I think Luque could just, piece him up over 3-4 of the 5 rounds and win a decision. But I am going to go Vicente. I'm going to go Vicente by submission. I'll go through my picks real quick. Vicente, submission. Omar Gadziev, decision. Fialo, underdog, knockout. Mero Silva, decision. Sabatini, decision. Lusa, decision. But we don't know the line on that one yet. Devin Clark, decision. Pannie Kianzad, decision. Wait, did I skip this fight? I feel like I skipped this fight. Jakar Close versus Brandon Jenkins, and I did. It's going to be quick to break down, though, because this line is not accurate. Jakar Close now is minus 800. Okay? Brandon Jenkins, we saw. I know I'm going out of order here. I completely skipped this one. Brandon Jenkins, we saw in his last fight, kind of just a knockout artist, throwing those flying knees, throwing that spinning back fist. Came in against Zhu Rong, a 21-year-old, got finished, got dominated, got taken down at will by a guy. It was short notice, but Zhu Rong, 21-year-old, inexperienced. That is not Khabib. He should not be absolutely ragdolling you like that. He's got a puncher's chance. I do want to mention on this fight, I get close, better striker, better cardio, more durable, better wrestling, all that. I feel all that. He's coming off a long layoff. He's coming off a knockout loss. He's minus 800. And I don't know if you guys have been seeing, but he's been talking about, he was kind of the laughing stock for that Jeremy Stephens fight when Jeremy Stephens pushed him at the weigh-in and then he pulled out. And people were like, oh, he's milking it. He's trying to get money. Dude, apparently he's got some serious health issues off that. Like he's saying, oh, it might have been because he was cutting weight and he was drained and something happened in his neck. Dude, it was kind of, I read some shit about it. He was like, I'm having like really bad symptoms. Like I'm going to have to have neck surgery. He gets like blinding headaches. I mean, it could have been easily off some other shit. It's like, are you sure that wasn't Dariush knocking you out? He claims that it was, maybe this is his way of being like, hey, I got photo evidence. This dude broke a rule on camera and like hurt me. So maybe this is just his way of getting money out of Stephens or the UFC. But I just saw an article, man. He's talking about he's having all these health ramifications. He's waiting till he retires to have a neck surgery. Dude, neck and back you don't fuck with. I know as somebody who's been training for a long time. If he's got a serious neck injury, if he's having all these concussion-like symptoms, which is weird, like apparently, I don't know what, I don't understand, I'm not a doctor, but apparently he's having all these weird health-related issues, which, you know, I really, knock on wood, I hope the guy's all right. I genuinely hope he's trying to screw the UFC out of some money and he's not having these issues, especially from a push at weigh-in. But apparently it like whiplashed him and he was dehydrated, and it's messing with him, neck, and apparently it could, I mean, it sounds like it could be some like internal issues going on. I don't understand how that's possible, man, but I'm not a doctor, so I'm not in a position to say it's bullshit. And if it's not bullshit, are you trying to bet this isn't accurate. He's minus 800. Are you trying to bet him minus 800? I parlayed him up when he was minus 400 with Vincente. Spoiler alert, I'm going to get into my bets in just a second. I parlayed them up, and I really liked that line for both of them. I thought Close was going to win, but now at minus 800, it's like, that's my one drawback. Jenkins is literally just a puncher's chance. So I actually have a parlay with Close in it, with Vincente. But I also, since this got up to minus 800, I love the fact that this worked out perfect, because now I have Brandon Jenkins plus 1,000 by KO. $10 to win 100. So I'm sitting honestly pretty good on either side. I would be shocked if Jenkins won anyway, but besides that, if Close really is having these health related issues, a neck injury, all this type of shit, all these like concussion like symptoms, maybe Jenkins knocks him out. He's coming off a layoff. His timing could be off. Close. Jenkins just fought. Close hasn't fought in a while. He's coming off injuries, a long layoff. Who knows, man? But so I got Close in a parlay. I'm going to take Close by decision. That's typically the way he wins fights. You know, it sucks because he was fighting such a high-level guy in Dariush in his last fight. He got a little baited into that Dariush brawl. He rocked Dariush, ends up eating the overhand, getting slept. Who knows, man? We could be sitting here at 12-1 Close, coming off a win over a top 5 guy in Dariush. And, you know, I mean, he wasn't top 5 when they fought, so I guess that wouldn't be the exact scenario. But you get what I'm saying. You know, maybe, who knows, then they wouldn't have booked him as Stevens. I mean, damn, that's a wild loophole to go down. But Close by decision. If Jenkins wins, it's going to be by knockout, so I do have a flyer that way. Man, I'm sorry I went out of order. Let me double check, make sure I didn't do that to any others. No, I don't know if I've ever done that before, but is what it is. Now, let me go through these one more time. Luque, submission. Omar Godzilla, decision. Fialo, knockout. Silva, decision. Sabatini, decision. Lusa, decision. Clark, decision. Kianzad, decision. Close, decision. Ronson, knockout. Boudet, decision. Trey, Ogden, decision. Stella, Nunez, decision. Alatang, decision. Man, I'm going with a lot of decisions on this card. Is what it is. That's how I got it. And for my bets, I have Fialo by knockout plus 320. I have Close parlayed up with Luque, and I will get that line in a second because that was on a different book like a week ago. I have then I also had that hedge with Jenkins by knockout plus 1,000, and then I have Jesse Ronson straight plus 105. I have Devin Clark by decision plus 130. I have Sabatini versus Laramie goes the decision. I have to grab the line. That's also on an alternate book, but it's like even money, somewhere around even money. And then, my 2 parlays are Vincente parlayed up with the Kianzad fight goes the decision, and Vincente parlayed up with Sabatini. So, so I do have Vincente in 3 parlays, including I have the Sabatini one, the Pannie fight goes the decision, and I have the old parlay with Close. Again, parlayed Close before it got to this line. Don't listen to this video and then go parlay Close at like minus 800, 900. I don't know. With the injuries, the layoff, the knockout artist against them, I mean, I wouldn't be absolutely stunned if he got fucking flash KO'd in the first round. He's also coming long layoff, injuries, and coming off a knockout. That's the triple threat. You don't bet anybody. I don't care if it's fucking John Jones. You put that triple threat on a guy as a minus 800, you just don't bet that. So Close should win, but be careful. Outside of that, man, I'm looking forward to the fights. Come through on Saturday on Twitch and watch the fights. I'm gonna be live. The link's gonna be in the caption. My Twitter's down there too. If you want to see all my bets right before the card comes out, I always post them. Or if you want to, ask any questions, you can put it in the comments. You can tweet me, DM me, whatever. All that. My links are in the caption. Leave a like on the video, sub up, notifications, all that good stuff, so you don't miss the next one. I do this for every single fighting card, every single UFC card, and make sure we don't have an event this Sunday for DMF because it's Easter, but make sure you tune in next week. We've got Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday live on my Twitch. Best UFC 4 and Fight Night players in the world. It's a lot of fun. Come through, hang out, enjoy the video, enjoy the fights. Good luck, make some money, have fun. GG's.